No one decent wants to watch a trapped animal endless in agony. So it was a relief this morning to find the Prime Minister relishing the sort of mischievous delight to which she's been a stranger since she ran through a field of wheat. If only for a couple of seconds, the pulverizing stresses of her situation melted away as she revealed to Andrew Marr that Donald Trump's advice, in the vexatious matter of Brexit, was to sue the EU. For all its mesmerizingly imbecility, we probably should have guessed. Litigation has been such a reflex response to the thwarting of his will for so long that his unofficial signature tune is Johnny Cash's "A Boy Named Sue." And on the bombshell, the comic portion of Trump's diplomatic tour ended. In a few frantic days, he insulted May about Brexit, pushed Boris Johnson's outlandish claim to replace her, insulted the leaders of NATO states about low defense spending, praised the Queen as beautiful inside and out during an outpouring of gibberish to Piers Morgan, claimed that many protesters gathered at his golf course were protesting for him. And far too much more to be catalogued in such a limited space. It was an absolute blast, and we thank the press for the memories from what his fellow golfing legend Nick Faldo would style as the heart of our bottom. But now it gets serious. Actually, the barely veiled threat to undermine NATO to destruction wasn't that funny. But tomorrow in Helsinki, it gets really, deadly serious when Trump meets Vladimir Putin. Not to be melodramatic, but you wonder if this summit might be the starting pistol for the race to dismantle the world order of the last 7 decades. Coming days after Robert Mueller charged a dozen Russian intelligence officers with hacking Democratic emails, the timing is poignant. A normal US president is as stale a phrase as this language can offer right now. But in the wake of such charges, a normal US president would have cancelled the Putin summit, as Congress, politicians and reportedly his advisors have begged him to do. Tending towards the abnormal, Trump will not acknowledge that the former KGB man had a clue what these agents of the Russian state were up to. Every time he sees me, he says, "I didn't do that," and I really believe he means it, so Trump said last November after they met in Vietnam. I think he is very insulted by it, which is not a good thing for our country. How exceedingly true. This must be why Trump himself takes such obsessive care to spare the delicate feelings of foreign leaders. What we can expect from the Trump-Putin summit talk of collusion between Russians and Trump associates will no more derail the Finnish love in one assumes than that of alleged compromat. Trump's longing to be Putin's bestie is no mystery. The big question is how far he might go to thaw the neo-Cold War that began after Russia's invasion of Georgia in 2008 and became more glacial after its annexation of Crimea in 2014. Will Trump legitimize the latter, and if so, could NATO survive in more than name if he does? Will he act on earlier hints about withdrawing the 2,200 US military presence from Syria in defiance of his entire administration, and end the proxy war with Russia there? Will he consent to do all in his power to relax, or even abandon, the post-Crimea sanctions damaging the Russian economy? Will he, to boil it down to this simplistic reduction, kickstart the disintegration of this precarious world order by hugging the bear while recoiling from such close and long-standing US allies as Canada, Germany, France, Mexico and even the gorgeous Majesty's Britannic realm? This much seems likely. In a diplomatic game between a skilled and battle-hardened chess master and a man without the attention span for checkers, there can only be one winner. Semi-lobotomized Putin would easily bamboozle the proudest ignoramus who ever sat in the Oval Office. A grifter on a far more elevated scale to the tangerine huckster, Putin needed study his mark for moments to know that, if you're the kind of strongman he instinctively admires and whose affirmation his insecurities make him crave, flattery gets you everywhere with sometimes simplicity works best. There's no place for Trump's other policies in our society. Many were quick to point out that in the UK, Trump means fart. Some people were looking out for the Queen. There's a Mean Girls quote for every occasion. There were a lot of hair references at the March to Pay. Sorry, today. Try and read this out without singing it. A message all Brits will understand. We don't entirely understand this one, but we do rather like it. The In-Betweeners sends a hilariously petulant message. Never underestimate Cher Horowitz. Sometimes simplicity works best. There's no place for Trump's other policies in our society. Many were quick to point out that in the UK, Trump means fart. Some people were looking out for the Queen. There's a Mean Girls quote for every occasion. There were a lot of hair references at the March to Pay. Sorry, today. Try and read this out without singing it. A message all Brits will understand. We don't entirely understand this one, but we do rather like it. The In-Betweeners sends a hilariously petulant message. Never underestimate Cher Horowitz. Trump goes into the summit with a pair of aces in the hole, Putin with a deuce and 7 offsuit. But the poker savant's motto is play the man, not the cards, and the supreme bluffer who uses rarefied guerrilla warfare in Syria and cyberspace to punch way above Russia's middling economic weight will surely be too good for a man too effortlessly brilliant in his own estimation to read the first page of a brief. If it took Kim Jong-un an hour to blandish Trump into handing him the unlikeliest diplomatic coup d'etat in decades, how hard could it be for Putin to coax him into generous concessions? In a time of such extreme volatility, nothing is predictable. It would be insanely arrogant to dismiss the possibility that a Russo-American alliance would make the world a safer place on nuclear and other grounds. But a stronger possibility is that Putin may be a day or two away from schmoozing Trump into threatening the Western democratic world order, with a hiding from which it would struggle to recover long after he has gone, with the planet nervously looking on. The Russian president is about to sue for peace. The Trump litigation form book suggests he will be all too willing, regardless of the consequences, to countersue for the same.